Hey CJ, what's up?
I came up with a great plan that drinking beer is much more interesting than talking about all the other shit that we talk about, and it's much less effort. So I think we should just start making What's My Beer Again podcasts.
Sorry, are we making them in addition to, or are we making them instead of?
Well, my preference would be instead of. Well, actually, my preference would be just to drink the beer and not really do the podcast thing at all. But at least in the interim, because I think it gives the opportunity to the people who are tuning in mainly for the What's My Beer Again components of What's My Age Again, and are going, well, here now, I may as well stick around for all this age-related shit. So if you just like the beer part, then this is for you.
And what percentage of people do you think that might be?
11.
As you said to me last time, that's probably very optimistic.
No, 11%, not 11 people.
Oh, fair. Well, in that case, that makes more sense.
I like beer because it is good. I drink beer because I should. If there was a song to sing, I sing it and beer you bring. I drink beer when I am sad, because the beer, it makes me glad. Now there's nothing left to say, so let's go drink beer.
This is me.
And this is me.
And welcome to
What's My Beer Again?
How are we going to run this?
Well, I think it's essentially just the What's My Beer Again segment from What's My Age Again, but without the What's My Age Again part. It's my way of going, let's make it less effort and less work.
Okay, fair enough. So, in that case, CJ, what's your beer again?
My beer again is a Hawker's Lunar Eclipse, Hawker's and Cloudwater collaboration Imperial Stout.
Sounds very fancy.
It is. It's a 10.5% alcohol.
Holy crap.
Limited release, which is unfortunate. So I partially hope that I don't like it, because if I do, it means that it's going to be very quick that I can't get it again. It's in my 440ml can is 3.6 standard drinks.
Bloody Nora.
What's your beer again?
Oh, my beer again. Because I've just come back from China, I thought I'd pick a beer that I was drinking over in China, which is readily available in Australia as well. But it's Tsingtao, which isn't how we would expect to say it, because it's Tsingtao. But I would have said previously, before going to China, I would have called it Tsingtao, but it's Tsingtao.
Right.
Okay, and it's their premium lager, which is 4.5% unlimited release. They make as much of that shit as they possibly can. It is apparently the most exported beer from China.
Is the most exported beer in China like being the smartest person in Tasmania? Like, is there a lot of Chinese beer export going on?
I think there is. They make a shit ton of the stuff.
No, as in, like, is there any other beers that China exports?
Oh, yeah, this is not the. This only has 12.5% of the internal market in China, but it's over 50% of the export market.
Oh, right.
So there are quite a lot of other beers in China. Apparently, one called Snow Beer. I didn't get to drink Snow Beer when I was there, but and they had quite a lot of other beers. They were fine. I mean, I'm sure you would have drunk them and gone meh. As a beer for someone who just drinks it like a soft drink, which is how I drink it, it's fine.
Right.
So tell me about the label, because you're going to have a fancy schmancy label.
Yes, the Lunar Eclipse label. It's it's got kind of a weird metallic
taste.
Abstract art. I'm not licking the label. Not this time. It's described as Lunar Eclipse. In a joint effort with Manchester's Cloudwater Brew Company, Solar Eclipse is one half of the two-part dichotomy representing an infrequent alignment of celestial bodies.
Okay, sounds like bullshit so far.
Well, the two components of that are somebody's clearly got a thesaurus, but also Solar Eclipse. This isn't Solar Eclipse, it's Lunar Eclipse, so I don't really understand what they're doing there. Anyway, infrequent alignment of celestial bodies, each, however, differing in its contextual light. This Imperial Stout embodies the night, hiding its secrets in the deep, opaque shadows. Its darkness alluring. A soft, lush body gives way to a firm underlying bitterness, swallowing your palate into its abyss. Which leads me to our additional segment. Could this label be a Tinder profile? Hi, I'm CJ. I have a soft, lush body that gives way to firm underlying bitterness. Actually, that's disturbingly accurate.
There you go. Well, see, Now Tsingtao doesn't really go in for any of that bullshit.
Bullshit. That's harsh.
The most obvious thing on this label is pregnancy warning. Alcohol can cause
Pregnancy.
well, that too, but it can also cause lifelong harm to your baby.
Right.
So don't give alcohol to your baby after it's come out of the womb. I think that's probably the answer to that.
Also, I like the fact that they had to add lifelong to that, because the warning just used to be alcohol can cause pregnancy, baby damage. Not quite. It wasn't quite as articulate as that. But apparently people were going, you'll get over it. It's a kid, they're resilient.
They have to be a little bit more specific. So what's next on our list of things we're going to be going through with these beers?
So I thought it would be interesting to see what it sounds like when you open them.
Okay. Well, you can go first.
So I shall crack the can.
Crack it, Goldie.
Bit of an anticlimax.
Well, I think it'd be less of an anticlimax than me opening the bottle.
Right.
That was a real fizzer. I'm not quite sure that this part of the podcast is going to be an ongoing segment.
No. It's a segment that's crying out for Viagra, I think. Anything to make it interesting. So I'm just pouring it into my glass now. It's quite brown. Mine just has a dark head like Satan at midnight.
Is that you or what's something off the can?
No, that was me. Yeah, so Hawker's Brewing, if you're in the market for somebody to write your labels. Dark head like Satan at midnight. It looks a bit like the head on it looks a bit like coffee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which is probably because I could do that and then you could see it.
That won't help our listeners,
No.
but I can see it. I can see what you're saying, yes.
Yeah, so it's quite a dark head.
I'm not going to pour mine, but it looks exactly like you'd expect a weak light lager to look.
Right. Cheers.
Yes, cheers. Okay, so the style of your beer. Can you give us a bit of background on the style of your beer?
The style of this is an Imperial Stout, often known also as a Russian Imperial Stout.
Oh.
Because I'm a massive tool, I know why that is.
Oh, please inform us. We need proof of your
toolness. I think I've done a lot to establish that in previous podcasts. So it comes from like the 1600s and Catherine the Great in Russia.
Is shit the woman who had sex with her horse? Actually, that's not true. I believe it was a rumor that was spread about by people trying to discredit her. But yes, that was the thing that was said at the time, that Catherine the Great had sex with a horse. But I digress.
She was the Richard Gere of the 1600s.
Had that beer get its head, don't ask.
Yes, so I think she came just after Catherine the Mediocre.
Well, but at least she came.
Going down a bad path. So essentially she liked beer, and she liked bold, stouty beer. Let me backtrack a little bit. So an Imperial Stout, or a Russian Imperial Stout, essentially is a stout on steroids. So it's got lots more of everything. So your average stout might run about 6-7%. And a Russian Imperial Stout or an Imperial Stout will, because it's got more stuff in it. So it's kind of almost it kind of almost means colloquially double stuff. So it's got double all the things. And the reason that it exists is because Catherine the Great, when she wasn't blowing horses, liked beer.
As a palate cleanser.
The beer that she liked was English beer, I believe. And so by the time the English dark beer got from England to Russia, it was kind of flat and boring and tedious. So they threw in a whole bunch of other shit so that by the time it got there, it still had all the flavour and taste.
That sounds very similar to your India Pale Ale story.
Yeah. I think that was the answer to everything brewing wise back then, was just put more shit in. Yes, so that's why it's called the Russian Imperial Stout, and why it's stronger than normal stout. It kind of, from what I found out, it disappeared pretty well until about 30 years ago when craft brewers started to bring it back. What's the style?
Okay. Well, Chinese beers are typically light lagers, apparently. This is what my research is telling me. And the fact that I drank a few while I was there, but I'm sure that's not exhaustive.
I drank a few researchers.
Yeah, well, but the reason apparently is because the domestic drinkers in China guzzle high quantities of beer while eating or singing karaoke. That's what the website I looked at told me.
That sounds to me like that's a website that's just gone, Asian people look alike, don't they? What do you mean Japan and China?
Oh no, the karaoke's big.
Oh, is it?
The hotel I stayed at two of the hotels I stayed at had their own karaoke bars.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's big there. So it's not just. I thought the same thing until I realised that it's just as big in China as it is in Japan.
Oh, right. There you go.
Okay, now the last time I drank one of these Tsingtaos was on the flight home from China. And I can't really say what happened for sure, but I know for a fact it didn't stop me getting COVID. So,
Right.
so it is not a cure for COVID. The brewer claims that the signature premium lager undergoes, quote, unique and prolonged fermentation process to create crisp and refreshing beer with a malty aroma, unquote.
Right.
Well, would you like to know how unique, CJ?
Is it very unique?
I think you could say it's extremely unique.
Does it involve horses?
No. Okay, because only last month, I think you'll be revolted.
Well, you had me at the beer that you were drinking for that.
So only last month, Chinese beer maker Tsingtao acknowledged an investigation was currently underway into a viral video which showed a staff member urinating into a tank of malt. The video received tens of millions of views on social media and showed a uniformed man climbing over a wall and onto the tank of malt before urinating in it. Tsingtao said the incident was reported at the first opportunity and that the batch of malt had been sealed off for use.
Had been sealed off for a special release.
Has notes of urine. But wait, there's more.
Oh.
That could be part of the special prolonged fermentation process.
Now with more urine.
But there's more. In 2005, the Global Times newspaper published an article claiming that 95% of Chinese domestically produced beer contain the chemical formaldehyde as a stabilizer. Now, formaldehyde sounds familiar. It's the same chemical that was used to preserve the rats we used to cut up in high school.
Yeah, it's pumped into dead people, I think, isn't
it? Yeah. Of course, the Tsingtao Brewery denied they used formaldehyde. Anyway, that was a long time ago, so I'm drinking it. Hopefully there's no formaldehyde or urine in this. But that formaldehyde one is admittedly nearly 20 years ago. But the urine one was just last month on the 30th of October. So that's very recent news for the Tsingtao Brewery. Share price went down as a result of that news. But what I would say about this beer, the taste reminded me of a beer that I pinched out of my dad's old beer fridge when I was 15. It just, how taste brings things back.
Yeah.
I drink a reasonable amount of beer, not as much as you, but I drink a bit of beer. I've not had that feeling, that sensation, but I was like, well, that reminds me of when I was 15, and my friends and I would sneak a can of, I want to say DA, but I don't think it could have been. That's an ale, so I don't think it would have tasted the same as this.
Right.
But a can of something down from the dad's beer fridge down into the pool area, and sort of just sipped away at it.
Got a solid can of beer from the beer fridge, and then we went down to the West Wing to the pool area and had some illicit drinking until the maid caught us.
There were no maids. Nor was there a West Wing, but there was a pool area.
Okay.
I'm terrible at describing beer. So I looked at a website called ratebeer.com, and it describes Tsingtao beer as a beer that has a pleasant aroma and a well-balanced taste.
As opposed to the people who drink it.
Hardy ha-ha. It has a high malty flavour and a well-hopped character. Tsingtao was produced with spring water from Laoshan, a mountain area famous throughout China for the purity of its water. The domestically grown hops used to brew Tsingtao are of such high quality, they are also exported to European breweries. So there you go.
Right.
I would like to hear my Tinder profile.
Yes.
So I had to actually look up what Tinder profiles look like, because when I did my internet dating, there was no, well, it was available, but I didn't use it. So I looked it up to see it. I looked up a little website that had amusing Tinder profiles.
Right.
So I thought I would make my attempt at that. And it's only one or two sentences.
Right.
My Tinder profile. I'm experienced and into water sports, if you know what I mean. I have a well-hopped character and am famous for my purity. Sometimes, lol.
That's possibly the most disturbing thing I've heard all week.
Would you drink it again?
Yes, I would, if assuming that I can get it because it's limited edition. It's a little bit. It is a little bit bitter. Does it have a soft, lush body? Although a soft, lush body is probably a description of the drinker rather than the beer. It's not swallowing my palate into its abyss, I have to say.
No.
No.
Who wants that?
That's true. Yeah, because I may need it again. Although, from a Tinder profile perspective, I can swallow your palate into my abyss.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair. So, CJ, would you like to rate your beer in any particular way? Would you like to give it a rating out of 10 or 5 or whatever? You can judge it on any criteria you like.
I'm going to give it 4 out of 5 burps.
Okay, nice. 4 out of 5 burps.
Mainly because I just burped. There's less science behind that scale than you would think. It's just more the fact that I just burped.
Okay, so you're not rating it against other things that have made you burp.
No, you may have identified a fatal flaw in my rating system.
Well, I'm going to rate mine 4 out of 5 pregnancy warnings. And 1 out of 5 buckets of urine.
As in, there's not enough urine in there for you? Well,
no, not that there's not enough, but the more urine there is, the more urine it rates.
Okay, right, because that's how ratings traditionally work. The higher the rating is.
If you like your beer to taste like piss, then 4 out of 5 buckets of urine is fantastic.
And I rate it 4 out of 5 formaldehydes.
And that's for people who don't want their bodies to decompose after death.
Exactly. See, it's forward planning. It's organized. It's being organized.
I suppose we should get on with the rest of our episode.
Yes, I think. Oh, actually, hang on. There is no rest of the episode.
Oh, that's true. I forgot about that. This is just the. Yeah. Okay. How do we sign this thing off?
This is him.
And that's her.
Say goodbye, Scott.
Goodbye, Scott. What's my beer? Again. What's My Beer Again was brought to you by Colin Calls the Help Desk, an irreverent tale of corporate life, and Lightbulb Moments in Human History from Cave to Colosseum, which is out now on audiobook.